Hello YouTube, CSI Gaming coming at you. My name is Rusty Shackelford, and yes, that is my actual real name. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, I'm bringing you guys a first ever Let's Play on Train Fever. In this video here, I'm going to show you the ins and outs on starting a brand new map, and I might actually make a few episodes on continuing this map. For right now, I'm just going to show you guys the basics on starting a brand new map, what to do, and start making money somewhat early in the game. So let's get started. Here you see two little towns. We got the town of Hedon, or whatever, that's what I'm calling it, and then of Heartland. You always want to kind of look around your maps and see what towns are closest. Right now we got, I'm just going to call this one Elin, as I'm not writing the whole thing in. These three towns can be connected throughout time, but for right now these two are the closest. So what I'm going to do is start a passenger line first. So first thing we're going to do just go into here, and I always do 2 tracks, because later on when your cities become successful, it's gonna suck that you're still on one whole track. You can just find the place that suits you best. This one here, that's where I'm gonna put that. And then of course you're gonna grab your other one and come over here and place this where you want. I'm going to place this one up here. And then at this point you just want to simply just connect your tracks. And watch how you place your tracks. Sometimes if you just zoom out and drag like that, you're going to notice that $1 million just to build that. And the reason for that is that it's digging into the ground. And if you notice, when I zoomed in, it went back to a $100,000 building. So we're going to place that there. This map is started on 1900. The game is currently paused right now. And the reason for that is I want to build without time accelerating. Because once time starts to accelerate, the game just takes right off, and the simulation begins, and you'll start losing money. And you don't really want to start your game in the beginning till you're really all set. If you're building a double line like I am, you can zoom out to build, as long as when you let go of your button, it is right next to the track. If you notice, like, if my mouse is over here, it costs $600,000. But if I drag my mouse over here right to the next to the track, it goes down. That is the reason, because this track is automatically sticking to the first track built. And then we just want to connect the 2 stations. Now this line is complete. The only thing you need to do now is, it's always a good rule of thumb, is always build crossovers on every single track, whether you use them or not. This particular track, we're going to be using these because only one train is going to be running back and forth. Mainly because if a train comes this way, it can stay straight. A lot of the time when your trains come in, they're going to be coming in on the right side rail, and they're going to jump to the left side rail to deliver, and then they're just going to flip around and turn around and come back on the other rail. That is the reason that you want to do that. Now we're just going to race back to the other station and do the exact same thing. I always start on the right side rail and move to the left. You don't have to do this, but this is what I do, and it's always worked for me. The only thing left now is to put signals. These are super important to put these in the correct spot. If you noticed, I put my signals right here, just, before the junction points. If you put one signal here, a train's going to stop here if a train is in here. If you put it here, like, see my mouse? If you put your signal here, your train will bypass that signal and it'll sit right here. Even if a train's sitting here, it just makes it hell. Placement of your signals are super important in this game. And then just want to space them out down your line. The reason for spacing them is that, just like in real life, trains run on a signal system, and once they pass one side, it clears the signal before it. So if you're running multiple trains on a line, like I intend to do, I also intend to use this line also as freight, as well as passenger. So when you do that, you invite more problems because you're inviting more trains. But that's not exactly a bad thing either. If you're unfamiliar with this game, you're going to notice that right here, you're probably wondering, what is this? This is a lumber mill. Well, I guess it's a forest. Anyway, should you use this here, this is considered one of the commercial areas. And if you choose to, you can have a train or truck come here, pick up wood, and it'll bring it to a place, where is there a wood mill? Oh, down here. It'll bring it to a place here. It requires wood and will make product. When it makes product, you can now deliver that product to a town, and it'll make more money. The town will get bigger, and it's just really good money. It takes time, the economy, I'll explain that in a little while. Right here, you'll notice this is an oil refinery. Oil wells, oil derricks, whatever you call them. And this here will go to this place here. Okay, this one is a refinery. So you'll bring your oil here, and it'll make product. And again, product can be delivered to a city, which will end up probably being Hedon. A lot of plants, anything that makes product, always wants to bring it to the closest place. And I'll go over that in a little while. For right now, let's get a train going on the rail, start making a little bit of money. A good rule of thumb is, if you're going to place a track or a station, always place your track, because once a town gets building, you have to pay a lot of money to delete a building. Because if I just left this alone and this town starts to grow, it's going to grow all over here, and I'm going to have to demolish buildings to continue that rail. So as long as that rail's here, they won't build on it. They'll build around it. And considering this town is decent sized, the one thing that you're going to want to do at this point, now that you have your rail, you're going to now want to build a bus network in each city. And that allows passengers to get around the city to and from the train. And it also gives them a place to work. Because unlike other games, this game actually has an economy system where every person you see walking around in this game actually has a purpose. They're actually going somewhere, they're working somewhere, they're having fun somewhere. That being said, your station here is going to require a bus station. So we're going to go over here to the road tab, and we're going to click bus station. And we're going to put it here, and now we're going to put bus stops. You can place these really in any order. I like to put them across the street so that way they connect. I'll show you. I'll zoom in nice and close. If you put them like this, it doesn't matter, your passengers can come from either side and still get on the bus stop. Now you just want to kind kind of plan out a route. They don't have to be perfect. One thing to keep in mind, your buses, well, not really your buses. It's a good idea to try to get a bus stop in the center of the city, because in any city, every city, the center of the city is always the most high value, high priced, and you know, that's where your most dense, obvious, people are going to be sitting around. Alright, now that this is complete, I'm going to go to the other city now and do the exact same thing and make a bus route. I like to finish the roads out. Okay, that one's just going to be a derp. Because later on, when the town starts to build itself, it'll build on these roads that you're placing. You don't want to go too apeshit crazy here in the beginning, because you'll end up spending a lot of your money on stupid upgrades. For right now, I'm just gonna do this to connect these roads, so that way you're able to make bus stops, bus routes, and things just seem to be a little smoother. We might be able to connect this road to the bus station, and we can. And that gives me a nice spot to place the bus depot, or not depot, the bus stop. You don't always have to go with the bus station. I just do it because it looks right. And I'm going to have to delete this stupid little park here. Anytime you're doing modifications on deleting buildings, parks, anything that requires you to delete something, I highly recommend you always pause your game. And when I upload this, I will add in the description, I will add all the hotkeys that I can possibly think of in this game to make your gaming experience a little easier. Okay, so now that the bus station's there, again, we're just going to place a couple of bus stops. You don't have to go crazy on this, like I said before. Just kind of plan out your route. Your passengers, or just in general, your general population of people will always still walk within 20 minutes. So, I mean, if you place a station here and a station there, they'll walk till one of them. And I guess just for good measure, we'll put another station there. Alright, so in order to buy a bus, or buses, you're going to have to place a depot. And I usually always place these near the bus stations. Again, you don't have to, but it's just something I've always done since I started playing this. The other thing you're going to want to do is click your station and group. Now your bus station and your train station are now considered one. Your buses will still come here to pick up passengers. I'm not really sure why you group them. There's got to be a good reason for it. Alright, so now is the part where you make your routes. And this place, you gotta remember, is called Hedon, H-E-D-O-N. You can name your cities. I always name everything I do. And I always capitalize. Again, you guys don't have to do what I do, but I always capitalize. If you notice, I put Hedon and then capital letters bus. Later on, when you get going, you'll have so many routes. So now you click Add Station. And this is the cool part. Now each click you do tells your buses where and how to go. They will follow this. This is why I said earlier that you're going to want to make sure that you put your bus stops on the correct side of the road. Because if not, well, they'll just bypass it. And that's why I do one on each side of the road. You can never screw it up at that point. So now you'll see that the arrows, how the arrows are moving, that's how your buses are going to travel. So let's buy a couple of buses. You don't really need a ton of them. This is a fairly small town. I'm just going to buy 3. And we're going to set them to heat and bus. And that, when I hit the play button, they'll automatically just do that. Now let's build a rail line. And I actually forgot the name of the other town, which ain't bad. You just hit enter. You just X out of that. And this one's called Heartland. And then you just go back over and click on line and rename it. So we're going to call it Heartland dash. Well, of course I gotta delete the line. And then I put a dash and then H-E-D-O-N, okay. And then I just put P-A-S-S in caps, and that tells me that is a passenger train line. And simply just click the station and click the station over here. That's it. Train line's done. The only other thing now is you're going to want to, it's somewhere on the line, you're going to want to build a train depot, so that way you can now buy your trains just like the buses. And then this one here, we're just going to flop it over to the side. And then you just place that there. And then if you want to do this, this here will, at a later date, you'll have this rail running. And that way you can send trains this direction. So while we have a few bucks, we still have 1.1 million left. Let's buy a train. And then here I'll quickly explain how this works with the different models and trains and cargo types. Because I'm starting in the year 1900, I'm kind of starting in the middle of good technology and still, you know, not fast enough, but I mean, let's face it, 1900, this is pretty good tech. So this train here it's a Class 53, and its build date was from 1877 to 1907, and it's good at 50 kilometers an hour, and its power ratio is 160 kW, which I'm assuming is kilowatts. I could be wrong, correct me if I am. Its running cost is $293,000 a year, and it's good for 30 years, where the other engine that I have available at this time is a Class 89. The other one was a Class 53. This one here, not much different. It's good from 1888 to 1922. And its top speed is 40k. It's kind of slow, but this thing's a powerhouse considering to the other one. This one is good for 290 kW, where this one was only good for 160, which means this one can pull more weight, more carts. And these 4 here are passenger carts. This one only fits 6 people, 8 people, 11, and 14. And the other thing you want to pay attention to is, like, for instance, this train can do a top speed of 50k. This passenger car can only go 50k. So if this train, for instance, could pull its weight to, say, 100k, and this cart only says 50, that train's only going to travel at 50. It's going to kind of suck. So we're going to choose this one here because it has 14 passenger, and I don't have to buy too many. for right now, I'm just going to buy 3 carts. And we're going to set it to the train line that I created there. And lastly, before I hit the play button, we just got to get this town running. And to do that, we need to give it a bus line and buy a couple of buses. Okay, so now, again, you just click your route. Yep, made a mistake. If you make a mistake by clicking, just click the last one you did and then click remove. And then just continue. And that's it. All we gotta do now is just hit the X button, and this bus line is now complete. And to complete it off, we just need to put well, that's a train. We need to buy a bus depot. And now buy a couple of buses. Again, I'm just gonna buy 3. This town's not that big, there's not that many people in there. And now you just select all, and make sure you select the proper one, not Hedon, because that's not the right town. We now want to click Heartland. And that's pretty much it for this town. These 2 towns will now run. I'll start the simulation on a basic. And you'll see the train come out. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to do was group these 2 stations together. As you can see, speed 1 is kind of slow. One thing I've noticed is a lot of people play this on speed 3, which is just a tab button. You just hit it a couple times. And you'll notice there's the buses. And it's just doing its thing. And you see people walking around. You can click them, and you'll see that he's heading to work. His details are, he lives in building 39,000, blah blah blah. He shops at 41,000. Everything he does is all Heartland based. He lives here, he works here, he shops here, and he has fun here. So every passenger, every person in this town, as you can see, has a purpose. They're doing something, they're going somewhere. Say, for a small developer, they did an amazing job for this game. See, the town is self-building itself. You don't have to build anything. The only thing you can control is the roads, and the town will build on your roads, or it'll even make its own. Though when it does that, it usually builds something stupid and irrelevant. Alright, to make a little extra money, I am going to do the cargo. I'm going to pause the game just so I can save up a little bit of money. And I'm only down to 22,000, so I'm going to take out a loan. I'm going to take out 2 million because I have to buy the track, train, and stations. And this here I can explain the cargo type, or how to run a cargo type. And we're gonna just delete that. We don't need the road. It's actually in the way. You do, however, need to have a road connected at the station. Otherwise, they won't bring goods to the station, and you can't connect your station to the lumber. It's just simple. Click the rail. Click this, and then here you'll notice there's 2 types. One looks like people, one looks like cargo. Just click the cargo. We don't need a double rail, we'll just do a 1 rail. And and just click your rail and just drag it out. At this moment, we don't need two rails running, so I'm just going to take the second one and just connect it to the first. And that's it. And put a signal here. That way, just in case the passenger train is sitting at the station, that train will know to stop and wait. And we just have to find the now lumberyard. And just drag a road. Yep. I'm going to want the train to come in on this side, so I'm going to delete its road on this side so it has no choice but to. Well, you'll see what I mean in a moment when the cargo starts moving. Again, just place a cargo. Make sure you click your cargo station and not passenger station. You can waste a whole lot of money and just put yourself in a whole heap of BS. It's just, I don't know, it's trouble you don't need it in the beginning of the game. Alright, so now we're just going to connect the rail. And I'm going to want this train to also come this way. Because when it delivers its wood, it's going to also want a place to come sell it. And I'm going to tell this train to come over here and sell its cargo at the passenger station. You don't actually need a passenger, or you don't need a cargo area to drop cargo. It can drop it at the passenger. Alternatively, I can always tell this train to come this way, you know, and drop it at that station because it's already going by there. Within reason, you can kind of control your economy. Because this station's closer, it's going to want to sell to that area. And that's why I'm doing that. So now we just need to build a cargo line. And I'm just simply going to call this one wood train. Alright, so you're going to want to click in the order. This is where it would pick it up. This is where it's going to drop it off. It's also going to pick up its goods, and you're going to want to tell it to come here to drop it off. And that's it. Your cargo line is complete. Now you just got to build yourself a cargo train or a freight train. And I'm going to do the other one, the faster train. And cargo types, if you look here, this one's for coal and iron ore. This one is exclusively for oil. And this one takes woods and goods, which is good because that's exactly what we're hauling, is wood and good. So I'm going to buy, let's see, was that 6, 7, and 8. If you look right here, it'll tell you wood, it'll say 0 of 64, and goods 0 of 64. That's how much cargo this train can hold. And we're now just going to set it on wood train, and it'll automatically take care of that. While the game is still paused, it's always a good idea to put back the money that you didn't use. Alright, let's just simply get this rail running, and I will run this on simulation and explain a couple things while things are running. So let's put this on speed 3. Oh yeah, I'm going to need to place a signal here, otherwise the train will just very stupidly just run right out on the rail and can clusterfuck things. Okay, so a couple other things. This is about as much as you want to do in the beginning. If possible, start one train for passenger, one train for cargo. You don't want to get in over your head. If you do too much too fast, the economy in this game doesn't find it fast enough, and you'll start losing a ton of money. I'll show you here because now I have a passenger. That's what this little person icon looks like. At this bus station, there happens to be 8 people standing here waiting for a bus. The same would apply if they were standing here at the station. At the moment, there's nothing standing here. The economy in this game usually takes about 6 months to a year for things to recognize how to run. So, like right now, we just started a passenger line between these two cities, between Hedon and Heartland. It's going to take about a year for that to understand that traffic can go between the two cities. And the same applies with this wood line. It's going to take about a year for it to understand that. And you got to just kind of be patient in the beginning. You're going to lose money up here. If you see, I'm minus 121,000. And you can also click your money up here to take out loans or repay. As well as you can also go down here and click the bottom button down here. Probably may be wondering about these icons. Obviously, this is how to build train lines. This is how to build road networks. This one down here I didn't touch because it's an upgrade to road. If you already have a road built and you wanted to upgrade it to a larger or wider road, you could do that. I don't have the money at this moment. I'll do it as soon as I get a little bit of green cash. This one here is terrain adjustment or landscaping. You know, again, I don't have the money, but you can go up high. You can make the brush size. You can also dig a hole. Clicking the equal kind of brings things back to a kind of like a smoother state. I wish there was a quick level, but there's kind of not. If you build a mountain and you do the equal, it'll just kind of form a soft hill until it kind of, I don't know, goes flat-ish. Let's follow our passenger train. All we gotta do is click on it and click the little icon on the top left. Just follow your train and watch it. In the beginning of your game, it's pretty much all you're going to be doing is just watching stuff. Alright, now that that's running, let's show you around the map a little bit. Get you guys a little familiar with, what's going on here. So, obviously I've been going between these two cities. This here is a medium map. Not large, not small. I'm only going to be using this for Let's Play. So we have another little town here. We have some nice cargo types over here. One I didn't show you yet is this one here. This one requires iron and coal to make a product. So it requires 2 things to make one. We happen to have coal right here. And we happen to have iron right here. Usually they're never too far away from each other. Most likely when I connect my passenger line from down here, I'm going to connect it right here, and I'm going to have a rail that runs to that rail, runs right by here, and runs right by coal, or iron, I'm sorry, and then goes up to Newport up here. And that way I can minimize my usage of how much I'm spending on my rails. 2, I also like to have, lots of trains on one rail. Just kind of makes things a little more lively. Alright, so we have another couple of towns up here. Barnes, Staple, and Royal, Wooten, Bassett. The game names these things some weird names. We have Woodbridge down here. We have Hexham or Hexham. We have Dover, which I'm familiar with because that is a town near where I live. We have Woking and Worthingen. Worthen. I really hope they update this and make it so you can name your own towns. Really would be a huge help. And down here we have Taunton and Ewan. Weird name. And Burford. And then we come back to where we've been building. So this is the entire map. This is as far as I can zoom out. A couple other menu options I wanted to show you. Down at the bottom right here, there's a button that shows you cargo. And by checking that, you can also see how cargo is moving. Right now my wood line is now finally running. We have one piece of wood, and you can also tell that by every station will have a bundle of something, and the more it gets, the more bundles it'll see. But if you zoom out in the world, by clicking that cargo button, you'll also notice all of a sudden there's these new icons here. Well, these new icons are cargo types moving around. And if you wanted to monopolize on that, like as you see, these people are walking their oil all the way down here to this oil plant, and then they're walking their product all the way to the city. Now if you wanted to, you could simply just build yourself a train or a truck network, and you can take over that and you start making the money off of it. Up here we have multiple freights moving around. We have iron, we have coal coming to the station, and it's making goods, and they're walking those goods all the way over here. But then we also have a wood plant delivering its wood to Barnstaple here. This town is gonna grow kind of quick because it's got so much going on. If you wanted to stop these guys from delivering or slow something down, all you gotta do is simply delete the road. The other option down here will unclick cargo, and we'll now click cargo land use. If you wanted to check out how cities are running, you know, what they're doing, how they're doing, you'll see that red is now commercial in this game, blue is industrial, and green is residential, and yellow is industrial. Kind of like the same in SimCity. The only thing different is that the colors represent something different. If I remember correctly, in SimCity, blue was commercial. I believe red was industrial. No, excuse me, yellow was industrial. And green was residential. Alright, we'll unclick the land use. And now we'll do contour lines. This is one way to see how the world around you is shaping. See what kind of hills you are facing. If you notice these lines, if you pay attention to the screen a little bit, if I zoom out, you'll see that right here, these lines represent a big mountain. If I zoom in and I kind of do this, you see those contour lines now? You can actually clearly see mountains. If I unclick it, these are something big to keep an eye on. Although that makes your world more realistic from this view, it can be a big pain in the ass when you're trying to build a train line. I always build my lines on a flat map. Always. The reason for that is that you really don't want to be making tunnels and digging into the terrain, because it just costs a fortune. Even though I can't afford a track, I'll show you what I mean. If I were to place this here through this hill, it would cost me 1.4 million just to build that little track. compared to, say, if I built it here on a flat. It's only going to cost me $324,000. If you had a map that's all hills and mountains, if you like a challenge, have fun. I don't recommend doing it until you understand your map, until you understand the game. Oh look, we got passengers finally at the station. We have 4 people waiting for the train, now 5. And if you zoom right in on the station, you can actually see people standing in line and waiting. Now, understandably, there's more than, 5 people sitting here. But I don't really think the game keeps track of exactly how many actual people stand there. But that's how that runs. And right now I'm just waiting for my money to kind of go a little bit better. Right now we're $1 million in debt. And the reason that is if you come over here to your manage lines button, you'll see that the 4 lines I have created, my 3 buses that are in Heartland are only making $86,000 currently at this moment. My train is only making $25,000, or excuse me, $57,000. And my other bus is only making $46,000. The wood train is not making anything right now. It's actually losing me money. It's losing me $400,000 per month. Everything you see here is a monthly base. It'll go up and down as you see right in front of you. If you don't want to create train lines, you don't have to in the beginning. It's probably recommended that you go to every single town and make a bus line in every single town, or as many as you can afford. That'll give you money too. It's just a very slow process. This here, it doesn't seem like you're going to make a whole lot, but you do. See, I just went from 1.3 million back down to 1.05. But that is all I have time for in this episode right here. I want to try keeping my videos between the 43 and 45 minute marker. And I'm going to end the video here, so if you can, I'm a brand new Let's Play, channel. If you can give me a like and a subscribe, I'll try to push these videos out. And if you have any questions, comments, otherwise, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And check me out on Facebook at CSI Gaming. I'll leave a link in the description. Alright guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.